Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillah wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulihi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een. Wa min tabi'ahum bi ihsani ila yawmiddin wa ba'd. We'd like to welcome you all to tonight's broadcast of the Black Imams Roundtable. I'm your temporary host, Imam Faheem, and I'm here with my esteemed sheikhs and guests, Imam Naeem Abdullah, one of the most gracious hosts that I found out, one of the most gracious hosts in the world. We were able to, at our Black Imams Roundtable this past weekend, it was phenomenal. We were in Pittsburgh, alhamdulillah. I'm still, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm still reveling in that, I'm still basking in that ambience of being there with the brothers and sisters at Masjid. Alhamdulillah, we were well received, and we had a great time, inshallah. I look forward to doing it again. Well, alhamdulillah, we're here tonight. Thank you all for joining, inshallah. Don't forget, your cover fee for those joining. We recommend or we suggest that, a minimum of $10, inshallah, just to help, with donations to help us do some of the things that we're doing. And I would just like to mention, alhamdulillah, we've done an excellent job of just raising money among ourselves. We've done an excellent job. Many times you see people, organizations, one of the things that they have problems with is getting funding, and a lot of times we can really do the stuff ourselves. And so this is why the push is always for us to give what we can, inshallah ta'ala, because we can do it. We put our minds to it, we can really put it together, alhamdulillah. So please keep up the good work, inshallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless all of you. And we look forward to your contributions, and we appreciate all of your efforts and your time, mashallah. All right, so without any further delay, we have a special guest tonight. Tonight is how to maintain healthy marriages. This is, I think this is the third or fourth. Is this the third or fourth?
Fourth one.
This is the fourth episode of this series that we had about marriage. So we've covered a number of topics from the rulings of marriage, the etiquettes of marriage, the 5K diary, of course, which is the big thing. And now we're going to have Dr. Sabir is going to give us some expert advice on how to maintain healthy marriages. Inshallah, we'll just chime in where we can, outside of us taking notes. So when we look up from our notebook after he gives us these jewels, then we'll try to give something, inshallah. So Dr. Sabir, inshallah, you introduce yourself to the people, inshallah.
My name is Dr. Sabir Mahdi Wahaj. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to everyone. I'm thankful to be here, be able to participate. I've listened a lot during the different discussions for weeks, and I appreciate the opportunity to hopefully make a difference in someone's life. First of all, I want to say this here. Relationships are not easy. It takes a lot of work, as you've heard before, and it takes work on both parts. The Muslima as well as the Muslim brother. And one of the things, the primary thing that is lacking that I see is that a lot of us do not have full disclosure. And what that means is when you want to get married, first of all, as I'm sure it was stated before, you have to put everything on the table. And the reason that is because you don't want any surprises down the road, because surprises breaks trust, integrity, and honesty, and you shouldn't have that in a marriage, because that's the person that lays next to you. That's the person that you're entrusted with your secrets, that's close to your heart, within your compound, which I mean your living dwelling, and everything else that comes with that. And a lot of people forget or don't acknowledge that those are important. Because like I said before, if you don't do it that way, there's going to be a huge division. And we're not trying to have division in marriages. We have trying to have closeness, and I mean life closeness, not friend closeness, life, bonding. A lot of people have issues with disclosing information because they want to think that, first of all, they don't think it's going to surface, but somehow, some way, it'll come in your relationship when you least expect it. And when that happens, then, like as I said previously, there's going to be a lot of chaos and mistrust. So that's the first thing. You have to have full disclosure. Number two, a lot of us have problems in the relationship. And what I find also is that a lot of people try to handle it themselves. It's okay to try to handle some things for yourself, but when it gets too big, you need mediation. You need somebody that knows how to mediate both sides, and that's important because it's never one issue. It takes two issues to be reconciled and solved, not one. And the third thing too is that I find when people have issues, it's like they set up their game Battleship. One person on the other side of the table, the other person on the other side of the table, trying to build a battle, fortress, the battle against each other. And that's not how it should be done. But a lot of people do that, either insulting with verbal or even physical abuse. And in some instances, it's the children involved also. And that's, and they get the children involved, and the children shouldn't even be in adult situations anyway. But unfortunately, they're dragged into it. But when you have battles, people forget about there's a certain playing field, a certain etiquette that you should have when you have disputes. No one agrees upon anything. Oh no, excuse me, I say everything. There's gonna always be differences. But remember, we are not at war with each other. We're just trying to solve a problem or come to some reconciliation. But people take this to a whole nother level, and they want to battle and be insultive and abusive, whether physical or verbally. And that's never the way to handle it, because as I always remember, like they say in court, the judge will say, if somebody makes a statement, they'll say, strike that from the record. But the only thing about that, you can strike things from the record, but of course the court is not going to pick a whole new jury. Too much time involved and costly. And the same thing with relationships. Be careful what you say, because you apologize, but they still remember. And that's a part of you. So that's letting them know that other stuff is coming out you that they didn't even think or thought was in you. So it's better to zip your mouth. That's what I do. And I go in my own neutral corner and go think about it, or take a walk and do something later. Because remember, we should not be enemies against our spouses. Vice versa. If we say we care about them, we grow to love them as time goes on, and we take them as our confidant, we should treat them respectfully. Each other respectfully, should I say. And another thing I'm going to add too is that the men have leadership. The men have leadership in their household by law's permission, by degree. And a lot of males do not understand what that leadership means. That leadership does not mean that you're going to just boss everything around. You do this, do that. Anybody can boss anybody. That's not leadership. Leadership is setting an example. You understand? It's showing balance. When a crisis or any kind of situation come up, who they look to? They look to us. So we have to show leadership on a whole nother level. And we also have to understand, being a man, being a male, that we have to consort with our spouses. That goes back and forth. We don't make critical decisions without their input. Now, as far as the leadership of a man, yeah. After we get all the information, consort with our wives, because we should value what they think and what they feel. Then we make a decision. But our spouse, meaning our wife or wives, if it happens to go against them, there shouldn't be any animosity, because sometimes we'll take their information because it was better, And a good leader will understand that and say, you know what, my wife said something that I'm gonna do, because that decision or what she said is better than what I was thinking. So we can't be having pride when we conduct leadership, because leadership incorporates many facets. It's first of all, it's called balance across the board. You got to have balance. You can't be all in one way. And when you need help, when the both of you are having disputes and you need help, I'm gonna say it again, you have to get a mediation, because if not, it's going to put a big gap between the marriage, and it's going to get wider, and wider, because people are not listening to each other, or they can't solve the problem, or and you need somebody to stand back. A lot of times people are in the middle of the map. When you're in the middle of the map, you can't see every road, you can't see everything. It takes somebody who's standing back to view the whole picture so they can give you some input. And if you really care about your character growing, that means both the wife and the husband, then you have to learn how to take constructive criticism. Criticism is to help us grow, not make us feel like we're less than who we are. It has nothing to do with that. That's pride stuff. It helps us to get back on balance. And if you really want balance in your life, then you got to ask for help sometimes. You know, from people whom you trust, and they are balanced, and they care about your whole family. See, when somebody comes to help you on the outside, when you have counseling, mediation, whatever term you want to put it, they have to care about the whole family structure, not just not just looking at one side or the other side only, and that's it. No, if you got children, they're part of it. Consideration, as well as the husband and the wife. The whole family within the circle are a part of the problem solving. Because if it does not get solved, or at least some understanding, then everybody suffers. And the children are always sitting back in the corner, if not right there in front of them, listening to all this back and forth. And what you're teaching them, here we go about teaching again. You're teaching them how not to solve problems, because they grow up acting just like you. So adding that to it. Every socialization moment that we have with our families, it's a teaching moment. You may not think it is, but it is. You got to remember, you have a dispute, your children are listening, or you don't see them, they could be in another bedroom, but they're still listening. You got to remember, you're teaching them too. So you got to be careful how both of you conduct your business, because you're teaching your children too, the ones that can understand and hear what's going on. You're teaching them also. So you got to be a thorough teacher, not a partial teacher, because we don't want our families to collapse. And this has happened. There's too many divorces, and our families are collapsing because we don't ask for help. People prideful, they think they got it under control. I can do this on my own, I can do this. No, you can't. Because if you can do it, this stuff will not continue. So if the same similar situations continue, that means you need help. What, you gonna be a fool with pride when you clearly need help, but you don't ask for it? You know, people smoking, drinking, cussing, fornicating, boom, we can go the list on and on and on and on and on. You don't think you need help? Like, for real? You don't need help. And see, Allah gave all of us roles. He gave the man a role, he gave the woman a role. And we can't be crossing the boundaries. Each other, the woman playing the man's role and the man playing the woman's role. That'll never work, because it's not set up like that. And anybody crossing them lanes, they're messing the whole dynamics up. And we have to respect each other's role and support the role. So, we have to understand further that we can take it even bigger. We all have family. We're all Muslim family. Then we include on the outside the rest of us. We all have to help each other. And we have to be proactive, because there's too many times we see and hear things, and a lot of times people let it go. They say, I don't want to get involved with it. Well, why don't you want to get involved with it? I mean, even to say, tell a person to cool down, or if they have it in front of you, have the dispute in front of you, whatever it is, and then then suggest to them to get some help to somebody that you know. Because sitting back can possibly, and Allah knows best, something further can get out of this situation. You know, something further can get out of this. You know, go the wrong direction. And you know, Allah says in the Quran, Shaitan is our avowed enemy. You got to look up that word, avowed. That's a very important word, avowed. And we shouldn't take that for granted, because that means you got to keep every avenue tight. You can't leave no cracks, no crevices, nothing that the Shaitan can get in, because he can escalate and start something real small and it grows real big. But you know, but I want you to understand that, please, you know, you have to ask for help, and don't be ashamed or shy, because we all need to talk to somebody sometime. You know, there's not one of us that can say with truth that we don't need anybody to talk to. We got this. That's a misstatement. Everybody needs someone to talk to. I have people older than me, my elders older than me, that I go to. If I need something that's new to me or something I need some other information about, I'll go to that person. And not just my elders, I got people who aren't my elders that they got good wisdom. And I go speak to them also, because I don't have all the ideas and answers, and neither do you. So therefore, you have to utilize your resources. You know, depending on what severity the problem is. If you have a drug and alcohol problem, you got to get some drug and alcohol help. If you got family marital problems, you got to get that kind of help. If you got problems with your children, you got to get that help. You know, a lot of times people, you know, bring the children in a little more. Children having issues, and you know, we have to have structure and discipline with our children. Yes, we do. But when do you recognize that your child could be crying out for something, and you don't realize it, and you try to do it your way, and you causing more harm than good? When do you draw the line? That goes back to, again, the man in the leadership position also. When do you draw the line and ask for help? You know, it's not about being arrogant. It's not about being weak. The wise person asks for help and accepts the help. You see, and, you know, I can't say enough about that leadership in the family. You know, we already know that Allah made the women with emotion more than us. So we have to nurture that in a whole different way. It's not about talking loud to them. It's not demanding they do something. It's about learning how to be a better navigator. Just like if the ship was on the ocean or the sea and it's going all crazy, don't you still got to get over? Aren't you trying to get onto the other side of that body of water? Sometimes you move a little sideways, maybe right or left, and sometimes you may twirl around. And I'm talking about as far as a woman's emotion, but we still got to get to that point. We have to have leadership. You have to understand leadership being a man, and we have to make sure that we're kind to our wives, to our women. We have to be kind and have to do it a different way, because I see many times that we're authoritative in the wrong way, and we're not gentle, and we take too much stuff. We take too many things on our sleeve. We wear it on our sleeve. Like I said, if something happens, then we want to beat our chest and start throwing discipline around in the wrong manner. And that's not how you build relationships. And one of the things I suggest to people when they have a dispute, being a man and a woman. This is what I tell them. I say, when you have a dispute, I want y'all to sit at a table or sit on the couch, put your arms around each other, rub each other's foot, hug each other, whatever it is, and look each other in the eye and look at each other and remember, you and him are not enemies. And settle it with love and kindness, not combativeness, not insulting, and not with hatred. Remember, y'all sleep with each other. Y'all laid it with each other. Y'all know each other's secrets, if you told them all. But they know some or most. So I'm saying the kindness part and the real love has dissipated. And each person has to look within themselves, you know, and figure out and be honest. We all got to work on something. So how come we only look in the mirror when it's time to groove? My hair is right, my clothes is right. But they don't look in the mirror and say, well, you know what? I need to groom my character. Because if I groove my character, everything else will be right. But a lot of people, since they've been doing this for long periods of time, been in the bad habit mode, should I say, it becomes normal behavior. So they don't even recognize that they're taking it from one relationship to another, even if it's with a male, even if they're done with brothers, other brothers as well as sisters, their own wives. They take it everywhere they go. And it follows them and they don't see it. But then they have offense when somebody pointed out to you, be it the brother or the sister. Somebody pointed out, you get offensive, like they're not supposed to say anything. Either you want somebody to love and care about you, or you don't. You got to make the choice. Because you can't have it both ways. And when you ask for help, you got to remember, you ask a person for help, you should never expect them to do more work than you. You got to do the work, more work. You ask for the help, so you got to do the work. And if you're really not convicted to do the work, then you really didn't want any help. So you got to understand that. You ask for help, you got to do the work. And there's no shortcuts because there's a lot of complex things in people's lives, and there's a lot of dynamics, and the whole situation is sometimes things take longer than usual. Everybody's situation is different, and it's progressive. If you put the work in, more likely than not, you're going to get the results. It's how bad you want them. You know, if you care enough to want them. Because some people are in relationships for convenience. You shouldn't be in a relationship then. I mean, because the relationship is not only for convenience. That's one of the perks, but that's not the only thing. And if you're just in it for convenience, then you need to step out, be on your own, and rethink this until you're ready. Because what you're doing by being in relationships like that is you're facilitating a fraud. Even if you got children, your wife and husband, it's a fraud because you're not into it. So what is the point of you being in a relationship if you're not going to be into it? It's the same thing if you pick up the Quran and start reading or a hadith. Why are you reading it? Are you reading it to learn, or are you just reading it, just let it blow by and it leaves your mind? You got to be committed. In relationships, you have to be committed. And if you're not committed, it's going to show because it's going to collapse. And as it collapses, people are being hurt. Your children, if you have them, your wife or your husband, and anybody else that care about you. It's collapsing. And you need to take it seriously. There's many positives, obviously, in being married. Half of your deen. Nothing else is half of our deen. Nothing. Allah says marriage. What does that tell you? Half. Half. That's a chunk, big chunk. Law didn't say you got to pray to be half. No. He said marriage is half your deen. Half. 50%. That's huge. What is that? That's a lot of wisdom in that. That's a huge message in that. So we need to take this marriage in that position seriously. The husband and the wife need to take this seriously. And remember, you shouldn't be enemies against each other. The enemies are on the outside, not on the inside. It should not be on the inside. They're on the outside, not on the inside. You know, and when our families break up because of neglect, because that's what it is when you don't tell the truth and say or speak up and say you need help. Our families are collapsing like a lot. And when our families collapse, guess what else collapse? Our fellowship in the Masjid, our ties in the Masjid, they collapse too, because we're all family, but everything is collapsing because people are not taking our marriage and relationships seriously. So the whole thing is collapsing. Masjid, our ties with our brothers and sisters and their children, everything's collapsing. So if you're serious, then you got to do better, because there's no excuse. Only excuse you have is something wrong with you, like really mentally, and you're not coherent about what's going on around you. That's a different issue altogether. But when you know better, you got to do better. You know, you can't keep making excuses or turn your head away from it like it don't exist, because it keeps growing. Every time it keeps growing, and it keeps pushing people away. Hatreds, dislike, and all them other words you want to put into it comes into play. Hate, you can even put that in there. A whole lot of words can come into play. So either you're going to be serious or not. And I'm sure a lot of people even listening now, you need help. You need to talk to people. You know, you need to keep people involved in your relationship so it can be wholesome. You know, because living a lie, your character is a lie. So if you want to do better, you got to start asking for help. And a lot of times, the first point of contact is your imams. And they can point you in directions too, for somebody to help counsel you, or you get some help. You understand? Because they can't carry every burden. The imams can't. That's why there's other people that know different things and have different gifts in many areas. Because imam only one person. He cannot do everything, and he's not supposed to do everything. He needs help, and most imams have a good second, third, fourth right hand man, a person to help them out, and they know how to delegate responsibilities to get the ball rolling. But we cannot, live a lie. You can't continue to live a lie in relationships and keep blaming other people when you got to look in the mirror and start working on yourself and do better. Because everybody contributes to the breakdown of the marriage for the most part. For the most part, heavy on the scale, both people contribute to that. Now, we know this, and I just say it for the sake of saying it, we know there's exception to rules. We understand that. Sometimes it's one-sided it breaks down, but for the most part, both. Because, in a marriage, it's shared responsibility. The responsibility just ain't on the man, or the responsibility just on the wife. It's shared responsibility. Shared. SHARED, all capital letters. And each of us has to do our part more, and to be helpful more, not less, more, and be supportive of one another. You understand? Just because you don't like some things, it's like I said in the Quran, doesn't mean it's bad for you. Everything is bad for you. There's a good in it. So we have to remember, we're not each other's enemies. And if you need help, ask for help. If anybody have any questions, you can pose them. You have any questions? Any of the brothers? Imam?
No, I don't have any. I don't have any questions. There was a lot of great jewels dropped there. Barakallahu Fiqh, Sheikh. We appreciate it. No, I do want to pose one question. You mentioned a lot about shared responsibility in the marriage, and in my experience, I've always come across people, and even on this platform, and I heard this in another platform, that it was mentioned that when people get married and they start having problems, they usually try to project the problem on the other person. So the lady was saying, like, one thing you should try to identify is if you're, because a lot of people, their goal is like to be happy in the marriage, and particularly women, they want happy in the marriage. They don't want a problem. So this other platform, the lady was saying, you have to see if you're the problem, if you imagine yourself outside of the marriage, and would you still be happy? You know what I mean? Without the effect of the other person. So basically what she was saying is that ultimately your happiness depends on you and what you bring to the marriage, and not the other person.
Absolutely.
So my question is, how should we address, how much should we address, like, not internalizing, but saying to ourselves, like, I am the problem. I could possibly be the problem, because in my experience, a lot of people don't do this. It's always, the sisters that take shots at their brothers, or only more men was like this, or men like this, or the brothers would be like, because women such and such, or the sister such and such. We kind of like tend to do that often, and many times we miss the mark and really identifying ourselves and our part in the problem, like you mentioned. Could you expound on that for a little bit? Or did I make it clear, or did I just mess it all up?
No, you made it clear. No, you made it clear. No, that's why I said earlier. You remember I made the analogy about looking in the mirror earlier?
Yes.
Everybody, when they look in the mirror, everybody got something to work on. And either you're going to be honest, or you're not going to be honest, or you're going to just walk away from the mirror and act like you don't have anything to work on. And see, that's the problem, for being honest with yourself. If you're not going to be honest with yourself, how are you going to be honest in the relationship? I mean, you're not going to be. If you can look yourself in the mirror and you got something to work on, and you just turn away and don't work on it, you're not being honest. You're not going to be honest in the relationship. That's obvious. That goes for both the man and the woman. You understand? Because it's important. We just can't blame everybody else and don't take full evaluation on ourselves. See, we should always take evaluation on ourselves of individuals. First of all, we all should do that. You understand? Because that keeps you humble if you're going to be for real and be truthful to yourself. You take evaluations. You should know your shortcomings. I would think, for the most part, you should know who you are. I mean, you should know what your shortcomings. I don't care if it's drinking, smoking, cussing, you're talking too loud, you're putting your hands on each other. You should know what your downfall is. And if you don't know, then you need to have a talk with somebody, so you can get some steps, so you can start taking steps to accomplish these things, to change your behavior. See, let me tell you how this is how I do it. I'm gonna tell you the thing that I do when I have to counsel somebody, or I'll use counseling, mentoring, whatever you want to use them. It doesn't matter. It does the same thing. What I do is this here. Okay, I'll just pick one. I'll talk to the woman first, the wife first, by herself, away from anybody, so she can feel free to say what's on her mind, everything. And of course, I'm taking this all in my mind, or whatever I got to do, write it down, whatever works for me. And then I have a session with the man, the husband. I ask him some questions, write things down, keep it in my mind, Rolodex also. So that's 2 meetings already. So after I put these 2 together on a day or so, a couple of days, then I'll bring them both back. And then both of us will have a different discussion, and I'll point out some questions that they can't wiggle away from. See, because I'm going to ask point blank this, that, and the other. I'm going to get some kind of answer. If you answer verbally or non-verbally, I'm going to get an answer. And if some children are involved, like older children or teenagers, however that go, they're going to be in it too. I'm going to talk to them separately. If they're still in the house, it could be 13, 14, 15. I'm going to talk to them also. because they got stuff, they got things to say also. They got things that they see, the things they feel. This goes back to what I said about you got to care about the whole family, not part of it, not just the husband and wife. So that's how I go about doing it, because I want a well-rounded of information. I don't want one-sided information, and I'm trying to. It's better to have too much information than not enough. So I'm including as much as I can, so I can try to help the family. Because if not, like I said earlier, it could either escalate and get worse, or it can get better. So we everything, you got to pull all the stops out to try to help the families stay together and to be good teachers to the family, because everybody contributes, the husband and wife, everybody contributes. So that's how I handle the situation. You got anything to say, Imam Naeem?
I got a lot to say, Doctor.
I'm about to say, Imam Naeem, a lot to say.
Allahu Akbar. Now, one thing I want to say is a comment. You know, I just want to know if you concur or not. Usually when couples come to me for counseling, it is like both of you have said, that usually is the blame game. It's his fault, it's her fault, right? They didn't play any part in it, you know, the individual. Nobody's taking account or measuring themselves. Or it's, yeah, it's my fault. Yeah, I did this, or yeah, I didn't do that. But like you said, Dr. Sabir, there's no work following it. You got to do the work. If you know you participated in the problem, now you got to do the work. Knowing is only part of the problem. And I find that a lot. Like a lot of people, sometimes they even before the session begins, right after the opening up in the name of Allah, Imam, I know what my problem is. I know what I got to do. Okay, do it. Would you need some encouragement? Want me to push you? I mean, if you know what the problem is, you done told me. I agree. You agree. You know what your own problem is. I know what your problem is. We all agree. All right. Why are you here? You need some encouragement. You want to know how to do it? What is it? A lot of people don't do it. Hey, who is this guy in the bottom left?
Hey, it's Otis.
Hey, look, he looking all serious. You better smile when you come on here, man.
I don't know. Maybe he couldn't hear us.
Oh, yeah.
Assalamu alaikum, Imam.
You can't hear us.
Maybe it's the Atlantic City internet. He had that raggedy hotel internet when he was over here. He tried to put it all on Pittsburgh. I think I didn't peep that.
That cheap slot machine internet.
Yeah. Alhamdulillah. I don't know if you can hear us, but feel free to come on in when you can hear us.
He's trying to work it out. He can't work it out yet. Well, he's probably doing on the phone. He might be having problems on that phone.
Yeah. Or maybe the opposition parties hacked into his internet. While you were talking, a lot of people were talking about and have mentioned that a lot of times men don't want nobody in their business.
That's true. That's true.
And I've seen that a lot.
Yep.
And what do you think about that?
Well, that's why I said earlier, everybody has to have full disclosure. That's why I said the men and the women. And you can't, and that's why I talked about the pride and kibber. You can't have that. Or should I say pride / kibber, the same thing. But you can't have that. If you're trying to have a healthy marriage, you got to participate. And that goes back to what I said earlier. Just because you're in leadership position, it ain't about bossing everybody. It's about, do you know how to be a leader, a real leader with balance? That's what it's really about. If you're not a real leader with balance, you're not a leader. You're still trying to learn. You got to have balance. And anybody can say, you do this, you keep the door closed, or you don't do this here, or that and this and that. We all can do that. Is that balance? No, it's not. It's dictatorship. Who wants to be living under dictatorship? Nobody. Nobody don't want to live. Nobody don't want. Yeah, of course you do. Nobody want to be in a dictatorship. That's crazy. Dictatorship. That dictatorship causes. What's the word I'm looking for? It causes a lot of friction, and it causes separation. Like physical separation, like on a whole nother level. Because people don't want to feel they're under dictatorship, because it's not about that, man. It's about trying to make sure the bicycle chain stays on the sprocket so the wheel can turn. That's what it's about. It's not about that other stuff. It's not about abuse of power. It's, just because you have power, you got to have the wisdom, know how to utilize it effectively in the best situations. And everything is not an emergency. It's not. People live too haphazardly and think everything is an emergency. I got to do this fast, got to do this, got to go here, got to do this. I got to tell this person. It's not about that. It's about clear thinking. It's about clear thinking. And if you don't have clear thinking, once again, you got to talk to people. You got to talk to somebody that can help you. Because nobody, I'm going to say it again. I said this earlier. There's nobody living that I know of that you can find that don't need somebody to talk to and need some help. There ain't nobody like where they at? Everybody needs some help. Everybody. And I know men got that pride and all that craziness, but that pride, that don't mean nothing. Pride don't build the family. Wisdom and balance builds families. Understanding of dynamics build families. That's what builds families. In leadership, the best of leaders is the one who listen the most. Then they say what they need to say. It's evaluation. They got keen evaluation. Good leaders, keen. They understand a lot of facets of socialization. That's your best leaders. They understand people. They understand people, and they understand the dynamics, and that's important. It ain't about bossing everybody around. It's not. It's not. That's the wrong concept. Because if you boss people around and make them feel like they're in bondage, they're not going to follow you. They're going to be rebellious. Look around, all history. Look. A good leader, people follow. Even their perception of a good leader.
Part of leadership, like even not just in the home, but in the community and in the nation, is having good advisors. Good.
That's right.
In Arabic, we say wazir or wuzara, right?
Yeah.
What good is having good advisors or wazir if you ain't listening to them?
That's true. That's right. Absolutely.
And I know as a leader, when I got people around me who got critical information and they keep their mouth shut and they know that I needed that information to make a proper decision, I don't trust them no more. Why you keep your stuff secret?
Yep.
What's up?
Yep. I understand that. Yep.
And it's the same way in the family. You're like, well, anyway, let's take a commercial break. Sound like me, man. Amin.
Oh, you got that invisible tape on your lips? That's what it is. That's why I went and heard his voice. Oh, boy, here he is.
Your show.
Oh, here we go.
Didn't I promise you that I would let you talk?
I did. I've been talking before you came on.
Ain't nobody come to see you, Otis.
I know, that's what I think. So, alhamdulillah, assalamu alaikum. We needed all these vibes. I have a question.
What's that?
Right? So, sometimes you would find in organizations, even in relationships, and you was talking about shared responsibility or shared involvement. And I had an interesting talk with a person today about this. And one of the things I said is, if there is 100% work that is needed, and you are not willing to put in 5%, but you want the you want the rights of 90%, but you're not putting in 5% of responsibility. How do you balance these two distinct objectives? One, someone wants rights but no responsibilities, but in order to give rights, you need to also have some responsibilities. So how do you join between the two?
Well, first of all, that person who lives like that, they need counseling. The second thing, if that person only putting 5% in, then they need to step back out the marriage. Like I said earlier, if you ain't willing to make it work, then you got to get out of it. And you got to rethink your position until you're able to put that percentage in or put it higher. Because ain't no point in wasting people's time. I mean, it's wasting time. It's unproductive. It's wasting time. It's just like throwing gasoline on the fire, trying to put a fire out. You know, you can't do it that way. It'll never work. It's selfishness and denial of responsibility. That's how I'm putting it.
Hold up. Issa gonna put cases on all of us. We better find his question and answer it. Issa said, I'm putting case on all you panelists if I don't get my last question addressed. Shoe program, 23-hour lockdown. I'm the man in this piece. You think you can do this to me?
You know what the gas chamber smell like, boy? Pine oil.
Oh, no. Put his finger in the electric socket.
I don't know, Issa. What question are you talking about?
I'm on my phone, so I can't see all of this stuff.
Issa, was it that one?
Oh, he meant to say pimp. Oh, he meant to say pimp.
No, he meant simp.
He meant simp?
Yes.
Oh. Randall.
Do you know what a simp is?
No, what is it? Simple? What? I don't know what it is.
A simp is a man. I can't think
He's
of a
talking
codified.
about you, Doc.
Go ahead.
I can't think of a simple, coherent definition, but I can just describe a simp for you. A simp is the type of dude, for example, be on Facebook, and the sister will post, for example, alhamdulillah, I woke up, it's a beautiful day. And the simp will be, he has her on notification, so he the first one to respond and be like, oh, it's a more beautiful day now that you waking up, right?
Oh.
He ain't married to her, nothing, right? The sister could be like, it's raining outside, and the sun be outside. We're like, if you say it's raining, right? You know, everything the sister say is right. It doesn't matter if it's wrong or right. He's just going to agree with her. He's going to cape for her. He's going to kowtow to her.
Okay.
You know that's a simp. He always take the side of the women, even if the woman is wrong. He's going to take the side of the woman. That's a simp.
Well, I'm gonna change some letters. He got SIMP. I'm gonna put WIMP. Wimp.
I think it's a crossbreed between those two words.
Yeah.
And now, how do you join between those two? Because in our time, it's fashionable for the man, unfortunately, not to cater to the needs of the woman. And when a man is found to cater to the needs of the woman, they'll say he's a simp. How do you join between that, Doc?
Well, first of all, you can't be all a one way. You got to have balance, and you got to know when one is appropriate versus the other. And you can't be sarcastic. You know, it goes back to leadership again. Are you going to be a good leader or you're not? Because no good leader with balance does them kind of things. Don't even get involved with that kind of foolishness. So therefore, that kind of person won't be a good leader anyway, either to his children or to her if they were to get married, or if they're married already. You can't be a good leader like that. You can't, because that don't make sense. How can you say let everything go when you know in life, just on life terms, sometimes the answer is going to be yes, maybe, or no. It ain't gonna be like that. It's not with no man. A man by definition with leader that understands leadership. No, it's not. It can't be like that. It can't. It can't. It cannot. Because even a stronger woman will think that you're condescending when you even say stuff like that on the regular. Ones that's aware. I'm talking about lady/woman that's aware of this. She think that's condescending. Even for a male to even come like that with that stuff like that. Maybe a girl that's not in all the way a woman yet, maybe she might go for that, but no full-fledged woman, she's not going for that. She's not. She ain't that gullible. I don't believe it like that. Not the woman, lady. No, I don't know.
Hey,
No.
Dr. Sabir, there's been on more than one occasion I've counseled couples. Now, as a counselor, my job isn't to take sides. What I'm trying to bring about peace. I'm trying to bring reconciliation. I'm trying to preserve the marriage, right? If I think it's most proper that they be remain in marriage. But I've seen many occasions, not many, but a few occasions where the brother pulled me to the side afterwards and was like, it seems like you was on her side. I thought you were supposed to be on my side.
Uh-huh. Oh yeah.
Islamically, that's not even correct. When you judging between two people, right? Like in an Islamic court case, I mean, it's real strict. Like even when the litigants walk in, the judge can't say assalamu alaikum to one without the other. You gotta say assalamu alaikum to both of them first. I mean, that's how serious it is. And so for a husband to tell me after the litigation that he thinks I should have been on his side, it indicates to me that he don't even know what this whole thing is about. What do you think about that?
First of all, I think that particular person will make a statement like that, the husband, he needs counseling because it goes to be like narcissistic behavior, that, it's all about him and not the other person's feeling. He needs counseling because he's in denial about his own character because he got character flaws, obviously, to even say something like that. And this is one of the reasons why I said earlier, before Imam Amin came on, unless he heard, that's one of the reasons I said I separate everybody and get information from the wife, the husband, children if necessary. But the husband and wife, I get information separately, then I bring them together. And the reason that is when I get the information, as I talk to the husband, and I see some things, depending on what the questions I ask and the response I get, I'm going to call him to the carpet on some things. And I won't do it I won't say it in front of the wife like that, but with him, by myself with him, I'm going to call him on the carpet. And if I'm counseling the wife and I see some things or hear some things, I'm going to pose it to her, of course, tactfully, but I'm going to present what I see. Because, like as I said earlier, people can stand on the map and can't see a darn thing. Only the person that stands back from the map can see it clearly. And that's why I approach it this way. See, I would never bring everybody in the room together at one time. That's chaotic and that's unorganized. I would never do that because you'll never get anything accomplished like that. This is why I do it separately and try to be as thorough as I can be about asking the questions because I'm looking for specific responses. You understand? Because when you start asking specific questions in marriages, as I said earlier, they're either going to give you verbal or nonverbal communication. Nobody that good, they're going to just hide it. You think they can get away with it. Not with somebody that know their craft. A lot of times, it's all about the question. It's all about the formation of words. It's about a few things. So yeah, no, that person definitely need counseling and more counseling. Since that person was already counseling, they need more. Because some people need weeks, days, months, year, whatever. They need it. And if there's no progress, I mean, if there's progress, that's a good thing, obviously. But the whole thing is getting them out of where they were at and get them in a different position better. The number one thing is, long as they're willing to put in the work and not think the counselor's going to do all the work, or the mediator's going to do all the work, or the mentor. No, it ain't going, not like that. They got to do the work, as I stated earlier. But some people just self-centered, and like it was said earlier, they think that everything they done is right. Sometimes the man think everything he did was right, and what the woman done is wrong, and that's not right. That's not even reliable thinking. That's erroneous thinking. That's not correct. Everybody has a hand in it to a certain degree.
A sister's asking, do you feel marriage is for every brother?
No. And now Islamically, yes, but I'm saying, but personality-wise and character, no. Not until they get ready. No, it's not. Because they'll show if they're ready or not by the tasks that they take to try to maintain the marriage and their leadership capabilities. No, some people aren't ready to get married. They're not. They're not ready to get married. A lot of people aren't. They think they are, but they're not.
Now, the sister asked, do you feel marriage is for every brother? You just said people are not ready for marriage. So you include sisters in that as well, right?
Oh, absolutely.
All right. Because like Issa said in one of his questions that we didn't get to yet, basically I'm rewording what he said. It seems like all of the weight and responsibility and the blame, it seemed like it's being put on the men, right?
No. Okay.
Not from you, but just like in our general discourse.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I know. I understand what he's saying. Yeah. Well, that's not a fair assessment, because it happens both sides. That's not a fair assessment. And I guess the way I see it, the reason why it's put on the men more is because of their leadership responsibilities, and a lot of men are not balanced to handle. See, when you're dealing with a woman, she has those emotions, and it takes a different skill set of understanding to be able to deal with a woman. Simple as that. And a lot of men do not have that skill set. They don't. They weren't taught it. They don't understand the dynamics. It's really deep. It's a lot of dynamics into that, dealing with the emotion of the woman. And a lot of men can't handle that because they weren't taught that. See, a lot of men, I'm not going to say men, I'm going to say males getting older. They did not have manhood training, and there's no substitute for manhood training. And I'm not just talking about manhood training from the father. We're talking about uncles, grandfathers, neighbors, everybody, every male that's a bona fide man. I'm talking about that kind of manhood training. A lot of males didn't have that, and a lot of men has been around females too much that they start acting like females, and they don't understand the responsibilities, and it shows in the relationships by how they handle the situations that come up. And this is unfortunate, but this is what happens. You have to have manhood training to understand the real journey of a man, of becoming a man. You have to have manhood training. A lot of women, I heard them say over the years, oh, my son grew up and he went to college and he did this and that. He got a good job. Boom, boom, boom. And I made sure he had this and that. But my first question is, did he have men in his life to teach him about manhood? Because if he didn't, there's going to be circumstances and episodes in life where you're going to have to be a man to solve it and deal with the problem. And if you ain't prepared for it, that's going to show too.
Dr. Sabir, I'm going to give you an example of what you're talking about. It happened to me. Alhamdulillah, I was blessed to grow up with both of my parents in my life, right? Now, our neighbor, my father's friend across the street, right? I'm going to change his name. We say his name was Mr. Johnson, right?
Right.
He, he had a girlfriend and a girlfriend, right? And it was common knowledge. And I'm like a real young boy. I don't know how old I was. I'm not even sure if I reached teenage years yet. Like I might have been like 9, 10 or so. I don't remember. But I was running my mouth to his daughter, right? Because she's sort of kind of like in my age group, maybe about 3-4 years older than me. And I was like, yeah, your father got a girlfriend too. We talking, right?
Mm-hmm.
She went and told her mother.
Oh. Huh. Mm.
Now, I heard about it from my mother, right?
Mm.
So I told her, she told her mother confronted the father, and they had a big, thing, right? So naturally, my father hears about it. And so my father was like, what are you doing telling such and such about so-and-so? And who told you? I kept quiet. I wasn't going to snitch on moms, right? I didn't going to say that, right? He told me, get your butt in the house, right? I'm sitting on the living room couch waiting to get worn out. Right? I'm waiting for my father to tear me up. And my father used to be have you sitting there waiting for a long time to get a whooping, right? I'm sitting, and he come downstairs to, I think, spank me, and he said, listen, he said, if you want to keep a secret, make sure you don't go tell no woman. That's what he told me. Right? And and I forgot the exact words of what he said, but the lesson he gave me at that time was more than any spanking would have gave me.
Mm-hmm.
I think he was trying to make the impact, right? Spanking, that's what you expect, right? I'm involved in the grown folks business. I'm talking, what I said, affected someone else's home. I'm expecting to get tore up.
Right.
But he was like, whoa, you got to watch your mouth. You got to watch who you say it to. And everything that you hear ain't meant to be said.
That's right.
Then I go outside and play. Right. I ain't never forgot that moment.
Mm-hmm. Hey, there's wisdom in that for sure.
Yeah. It's the manhood training you talking about.
That's right. That's part of it. That's right. No doubt. No doubt. No doubt. Can't leave home without it. You need that. Manhood training puts things in perspective as you grow older. You start to see things. You may not understand them first starting the training, but as time progresses, it puts a lot of stuff in perspective. You know where things fit and where things don't fit as time goes on. That's important.
Exactly.
That's very important.
Aisha Hutchison, she said, how can you get a man to go to counseling when his ego is not acknowledging he needs help?
Well, once again, either he wants the family to grow or he wanted to collapse. Simple as that. I mean, you there's some things you should just know about yourself just because. And if you're too arrogant or too stubborn, then what you're going to do is you're going to hurt everybody that you touch, that you're in their life, and close, especially the ones close to you. And that's unfortunate that people's like that, but I know a lot of people like that also. It's unfortunate, but unfortunately, she got to suffer too. She got to suffer too. But the whole thing is, or is it making you suffer more than you can stand in marriage, or you can bear it? That's the question you got to ask yourself. Meaning her, the sister. Because a lot of times we all have flaws, but what can you tolerate? That's the question for any of us to make a choice. What will we tolerate and what won't we tolerate? Yeah, so that's the whole thing. So,
Imari said, do you feel there's a problem when the woman makes more money?
Makes what?
More money.
For some men, it's a problem because they're unbalanced and they have some character flaws. That's a problem. That's the only problem for those kind of males. I'm gonna say males, because a man wouldn't have see. we got to understand the definition of a man. See, the man he's balanced. And a man that's balanced, he's not going to have a problem with that. An unbalanced male, he got a problem with that. And that goes back to jealousy and envy. One of the things we learn in Islam. So once again, he needs to talk that out. If he has a problem with that, he needs to talk about that so he can grow if he wants to do that. Because it doesn't matter if the wife makes more than him. That's the career she chose, and you know, that's happened sometimes. My thing is, if you got a job, you got a job. Meaning the man, okay, you got a job. You ain't sitting back on the couch or sitting in the backyard wasting time. So, hey, he got to deal with that.
Issa said, "Why is all the reform focused on the dictator men? Recovering simps can't get no love? Are most men that need reform dictator types?"
You really, not most. I'll say, you say recovering Sims. Well, if you're recovering and you're showing the attributes of a man, that shouldn't be a problem. It depends on when you was recovering and how long you've been recovering and who you was with while you was recovering. There's a lot of dynamics in that. You know, sometimes some of these recovering Sims, as you say, might have put a woman in situations that was very uncomfortable or uncomfortable to her emotions, should I say. And when you turn over a new leaf, so to say, it takes time for somebody to believe and trust in that. So it's time. It's all about time. And are most men that need reform dictator types? No, a lot of men that need reforms it's not all about them being dictators. It's about they're imbalanced in some category as far as leadership is concerned. That's what it's about.
It says, Imams, how can you help a simp not be a simp? Imam Faheem?
You're the mentor.
There is no help. You ain't get it when you was younger.
Hey.
Only way I would be able to help you smack you upside your head. Man, stop that stupid boy, man up.
Ain't that the truth? Hey, look. Hey, lock him away. You can't be around. Hey, look. You can't be around no.
You know, in the Jahiliyyah, we used to, I'm not going to say what we used to say, but we used to be like, you know, you still ain't going to get none, right? You doing all that, she ain't going to give you none. She don't even respect you like that. You waste your time. You make yourself look stupid.
Well, you kissing up to her, man. She playing you, son. She playing you, B.
Issa said he gonna prove us wrong. Oh, is Issa really saying that he's a recovering simp? I wouldn't put that on you, Issa.
No, I met Issa in person, man. He got such an honorable face, man. Some of the stuff I think he just doing just to make conversation.
Right. I think there's a difference between a simp and a man who's married and is trying to do the best by his wife, even if it ain't reciprocated. I don't think that's being a simp. That's somebody trying to adhere to Islamic laws and principle and just being a good dude, even if the woman may not necessarily be a good woman. I think that and a simp are two different types of people.
Yeah, because he did mention there's layers to this simping. By some of those definitions, we all simps on some kind of level because we got to concede on some level, especially been married for a long time. You know, I'm telling you, one of the best lines that you're going to have in a long-term marriage is, yes, honey. Yes, honey. You're absolutely right. Now, of course, the ego and the man, like, who she thinks she's talking to? But once you learn the ropes, yes, honey, you're absolutely right. Yes, I agree.
Except if you're married to Samir Abdullah, then don't patronize me. You just say yes because you don't want to hear me talk.
You're right, honey. I just want to shoot a quick reminder to, everybody, we're still doing our work. You can see that. That's my $10 donation. Put in the Black Imams Roundtable. Make sure we drop that bread. $10. As we mentioned Saturday, a lot of us do a little, then we get a lot accomplished. You know what I mean? So we got 50, 100 people on here, $10 a piece. We can easily clear $1,000, $2,000. Don't forget to give for yourself and give for one other person. Some of y'all bosses like that, you're equivalent to 10 people. You can give the amount of 10 people. So, do what you can, inshallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you and increase your provisions. Amin.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you.
I had to switch to second screen. I don't know what happened.
Okay, there's a question for you, Dr. Sabir. Is there hope for men or women who are verbally abusive who do not see themselves as such? Can counseling repair this type of abuser?
Counseling can help them be aware of it, but they got to practice not doing it. Every chance, I always tell people, every chance that you get a chance to practice your behavior, you have to take advantage of it. That's the only way you can try to get better. But they got to start with that person got to be very serious about that. You got to be very, very serious about that. But it's up on them. They can change. I can attest to that. I've seen people change it that have abusive language and want to talk loud. But once again, they have to do the work and they have to be serious about it. It ain't gonna just. It's not going to just happen overnight. It takes time, but they got to be conscious of it, and they got to want to do it. If you don't want to do it, you're going to be by yourself, or you get somebody that like you, and they do the same thing you do, and y'all can have a big short fuse on a dynamite stick. See, what do you want in life? You want turmoil, or you want like smoothness, smooth as possible? Which one you want? That's the question you got to ask yourself. And some people are so volatile. Ooh, they can't even change cussing. Some it depends on the person. Sometimes they can't. They've been doing it so long. It's just that's just they say take me as I am. A lot of people say that too. That's a cop out. A lot of people, because they have a defect, they're not willing to change. So they say, well, I've been like this for so long. Okay, yeah, you've been like that for so long, but you think because you're like that you think somebody want to keep accepting that? These people don't want to accept that. I mean, you get some that will. But there's a lot that won't. But then again, it goes at what kind of character you want. Do you want an abrasive character or you want one that's inviting? Simple question. And you'll answer that not by your mouth, by your actions. That's the key. Your actions, not your mouth. A lot of people can talk. Talk with your actions.
I want to advise everybody who's listening. Do you have any questions since we're in the second part of the show? Please try to submit them. But I got one. This is one I always think about. Oftentimes we see people who are not married, or even people who may have not had the experience of a long marriage. They will see couples and, say you get one of those couples that have been married over 40 years, 50 years, and they be like, oh, mashallah, that's beautiful. That's what I'm looking for. You know what I'm saying? Right. Yep. And then, but they never take into consideration, all of the volumes of whatever went into that marriage. Like it wasn't all peaches and cream. And they, it's like the concept is like they just reached this pinnacle in their marriage and everything's smooth sailing. Like they didn't have 50 years of struggle, like, and all types of stuff that, those old schoolers ain't even going to mention. They just, and I'm saying it to say, what would you say? How do we gauge the level of tolerance and forgiveness and flexibility in the marriage? Because in my experience, a lot of times people, the first sign of danger, they just, they ready to run. The first discomfort, the first disruption that they have, whether major or minor, they just ready to abandon the marriage because it like disrupts their comfort zone. Like what would you say? How how far should people go with tolerance?
Well, the way I look at it is this. First of all, it can't be no physical abuse. That's a game changer right there. That's out the door. True. And it cannot be incest. I'm gonna name something. It can't be no incest issues with your own children, and it can't be no continuous verbal abuse. You know, cussing somebody out, calling them bees, or even vice versa. Even with the man, the woman cussing at the man. However it goes, both parties. It can, you know, those should never be continually tolerated, and you got to get out of the kind of marriages. You can't you shouldn't stay in nothing like that. You shouldn't, because either people want to change or they don't, and everybody got a different tolerance level. I understand that, but you understand, try your best not to let the little things run you out of marriage, because that means you came in for the wrong reason anyway. Because if anybody come into a marriage and don't think you're gonna have disputes, and I ain't talking about major disputes. I'm talking about, you know, just little stuff that happens in marriages, then you wasn't in it for the right reason. You know, you wasn't wholeheartedly in it. You should never get married if you're not going to be all of it. You know, it's for what's the reason? Well, for sex? Come on, sex is, look, yeah, sex is a part of relationships, not just relationships. Let me clarify that, or make this plain to whoever's listening. Marriage, sex through marriage, it's important, but it's not the only criteria. We know there's other criteria that go along with that, and that should be upheld. But you shouldn't never sell your own character short. If you have a high standard for your character, and somebody's coming on a low level, you know, with all this foolishness and this abuse, you got to get out. I mean, you got to leave that. You can't. There's no. Why would you stand there and take that? I mean, I'm not going to take it. Why would somebody else take it? You know, and remember the small disputes. You come on, you can fix them. I mean, but you got to come in for the right reason. That's the first thing, is come in for the right reasons. Don't come in. Don't just come in a marriage because somebody got some money and you ain't, and your heart ain't in it. You just in there for that. We know that there's things that you can marry and to get the deen. It tells you certain categories of marriage that you can come in: looks, money, etc., etc. But my thing is, you got to come in for real and be committed to success. Because when it's all said and done, who are you as an individual? That means the man and the woman. Who are you? You know, who are you? Who do you want to be? What are you trying to personify? You know, a lot of people want so much, but they give so little. I'm thinking, why are you in it then? What's your reason for being in, getting married? What's your reason? You know, and see, that goes to the topic that we were talking about a few weeks ago. That was on the topic about what are you bringing to the table when you come married? I mean, what are you looking for in a husband? What are you looking for in a wife? I mean, everybody should have at least a top 3 list. I mean, some people may have top 5, but I'm saying there's 3 to 4 things that there's no trade-off value, no matter what. I don't care what, you should never trade them off. And relationships, I mean, you know, the most important thing that we give in relationships is something that people take for granted. Time, T-I-M-E. Once you give somebody your time, they can never pay you back. So why don't people take this stuff seriously? I gave you time. You could pay me money back. You can give me some clothes back if I gave them to you, or some food, or whatever. But if somebody give you the time and you don't value it, whoo, you're lost. You're on somewhere else and you need redirected, because that's the most precious gift that anybody can give each other, is their time, because you can't pay it back. But so don't get in anything. I don't care whatever it is in life. If you can't give your all or you're not serious enough about it, don't get involved. Don't get in it. You know, because I mean, sometimes you find out too late after people got in it. You find out too late. Unfortunately, it happens. We know that. There's always exceptions to the rules. But I'm talking about initially, if you're not willing to give and put into it and make it work, then don't get in it, because it's a disservice and it's a wasting time, and it's not a good situation.
Ten Wig just said, if he said marriage teaches you about you, and I will add to that, but most of us ain't paying attention to the lesson. I agree with his statement.
Me too.
I agree 100%. I learned more about myself through marriage than through anything else I could think about.
Yeah,
you know?
That's right. And let me tell you one reason I think. See, one thing that I look at, the woman has the power. She does. That's why you hear these songs and you see all this crazy stuff with males when women do things or however it goes. A woman slash lady can either build the home up. That means her husband or children keep the home running smooth, or she could tear it down. That's how much power she has. The women that understand this, they have a good household, especially if the man's character is in order and he understands. The household is running smoothly. So you got to be careful who you pick, be it a man or a woman. You got to be careful. The best you can. You got to do investigation, like y'all was talking about before. And other round tables. You have to ask questions, and sometimes you got to ask them tough questions. People shy away from asking tough questions, but you know what? If you don't ask them now, you pay later. You better ask them. You better ask them tough questions, because that goes back to what I was talking about earlier in the conversation about full disclosure. You know what that means? Full disclosure. That means everything's knocked off the table and put everything on the table. Make room on that table to put everything on there. Take all that stuff off, all them decorations, take every dishes, bottles, and put all your stuff on the table. Everything. Put it on the table. Because if you don't do it, it can come back to bite you somewhere you don't want it to bite you. And a lot of times the marriages don't work because there's not full disclosure. It's not. There's stories I heard. I'm just going to use this for an example. I'm sure just thousands more. Brother was married to a sister, and she was having all these mood swings. He couldn't figure out what's going on. So he kept thinking and thinking and thinking. So he looked in the refrigerator and seen this little bottle like tucked away in the corner, and guess what it was? Prozac. He didn't know it. See, it wasn't full disclosure when they got married. See, Prozac, a lot of women take that because of mood swings, so it can control it, or try to control it anyway, or keep them level. But he didn't know that, and it's the same thing with males. They may have children all over the place and never mention them. Then one day, child pops up and say, "Hey, Dad, how you doing?" Your wife look at him and say, "Who is this? How old is he? 16, 7? Huh? You didn't say that about him." So, full disclosure, man. You gotta stop all this secret squirrel stuff, because it's better in the long run. And you're trying to build trust. It's trust. It's like when you have sexual relations. You're having a sexual relation with your wife, and she's trusting you. You're trusting her. That's a very special and personal, letting somebody enter your body on that level, and that's a serious trust. So if you trust in that way, how come you're not trusting with everything else? I'm trying to figure that out. How come you're not trusting with everything else? Can't take stuff for granted. It's the small things that people sink the ship on. It's not the big things. It starts with the small detail things. People just don't want to be honest, man. They just don't, man. And I myself, I can't have nobody around me like that. I'm gonna keep it one. If I can't trust you, and it just means so much. I wouldn't care if you didn't have a penny. That don't mean nothing, man. It's about that serious trust. When I come and talk to you, or I just want to know. I just want to know in my heart that you know what, that you're trustworthy. Just like I would hope you want me to be trustworthy. But a lot of it is no trust, man. It's all kind of crazy, weak, deficiency in character. You letting your non-Muslim associates affect your family. You know, it's just so much stuff that people don't break away from. It's like a drug. You know, you've been taking that drug that you can't get clean no matter what. Whatever you try to do, it's just not working. So people got, like I said, they got to be honest with each other and really want your relationship to work. But I'm gonna say it again. It's like I'm keep saying it. It's about full disclosure. You know, really it is full disclosure.
Another thing, and I think women are, I could be wrong, y'all can correct me, but I think women are better than this at men. But I know, speaking about myself, and I see it in other people now, only because I recognize it in the past with myself. Like I was married in an earlier marriage for about 8 years. We got divorced. No, close to 9 years, we got divorced. When I look back on it, out of everything that brought me to divorce, my mind went back through the marriage and I started thinking about all these little different things that happened that I saw. And I said to myself, that's weird. And ain't never addressed it, ain't think about it again. That's strange. I wonder what caused that. Ain't no big deal, right? It was a whole bunch of those things that now 9 years in, it's like, subhanAllah, I saw that in the beginning. And I didn't think it was nothing. And I'm saying that to say that a lot of times men, especially not only men in leadership, but men that's involved in their job, you know, they involved, right? A lot of times in their home life, they be oblivious to obvious stuff.
Yep.
Right. But they're at work dedicated, they're bringing home the money, or they're active in the masjid, they're teaching the classes, or they going to the class, or they security at the masjid, or whatever, they're active. But at home, they like oblivious. Like it could be like a woman could be literally self-destructing, exploding at home. You won't even know, right? Because you keep thinking, that's interesting. That's strange. Right? And you keep moving and you don't realize, Allah's trying to show you something. This stuff is deep here. You need to dig into that a little bit more.
No doubt. So,
you know, this is one of the things, just to give you an example of what being married taught me. Like, you know, I was oblivious and heedless to a whole lot of stuff, right? And being an imam and a counselor, that's one of the main complaints of the women. He not paying attention to me. He's emotionally absent. He's not there, right? He just don't care, right? And a man be like, I love her. That's my wife. Like, what's your problem? I'm bringing home the food. I'm paying the bills. I'm not doing nothing haram. I'm not no liar. I ain't no cheat. Yeah, but you ain't paying attention. There's red flares, SOS, smoke signals going up. You like, I wonder where that smoke's coming from. Oh, it must be from the stove. No, that's your wife, man.
And that's true. And that's true. I'm glad you brought that up. That's true. And I want to add this to it too. That is true. See, another thing too, when your relationships, you have to understand how to feed the woman's emotion. You know, women like flowers, they like cars, they like to be shown and told that they appreciate it, and you got to be consistent. A lot of males don't do this. They just think they go to work, bring the food home, like you said, pay the bills, and that's it. No, it's not it. That's not it. I mean, that's a good thing, but let's turn that around. You got to feed the woman's emotion with sincerity, not just going through the motions, because she know the difference between you going through the motions and you being sincere. It's how you touch her. It's how you talk to her. It's how you listen to her. Women pay attention to this because their emotion. This is their gift. That's what they're in tune to. But a lot of males don't do these things. You know, they don't get them a neck, you know, little jewelry or something. They don't just be spontaneous. You gotta look, man. If you build a fire and you don't keep the wood on it, the fire is going out. So understand what men are supposed to do. Men means you're balanced. If you're a man and you had your manhood training, it means you're balanced. You should be balanced. So being balanced, you got to know these things. You should know these things. You know, you should know these things. You know, and I'm bringing this up too. I remember, it's been several months ago. We had a talk like this here, and I mentioned to the men, I said, "Well, buy your wives some flowers. You know, show appreciation." I never heard anything back. Buy them a car, do something, take them to dinner. Never heard anything back. You see, but the reason why people don't do this because it's not a part of them. They're not feeling it in their heart like they should. And that shows like another level of appreciation. You got to do these things. You should want to do them. You should want to do them. I mean, you know, if you once you start loving your wife, you love her and you care about her, you should want to do these things. That's how I feel. I mean, you should want to do this. I mean, it should come without question. I mean, that's just how. I mean, that's how I am. That's what I mean, that's how you should want to do this. I mean, because I mean, she holding it down. A lot of these women, our wives, are holding it down. You know, taking care of these children, even taking care of us. And come on, man. You know, even clean the tub out. She can take a bubble bath. I mean, there's so many things I can go over. You know, rub her feet while you're talking to her, rub her shoulder. I mean, come on, man. Where is the love and the romance? Where's that at, man? This ain't about stern. You've been around the men earlier, the males. This is about your soft Charmin in the house when you get home. I mean, y'all got to do better.
That's right. The sisters is agreeing with you too. They like what you're saying. And I'm just going to add what you're saying. I'm just going to add to it. Like rubbing their feet, cleaning the bath water out, buying them more cooking utensils, blenders.
Well, you gonna
get flowers around the sink with the dishwater. Flowers, candles.
They're gonna get y'all, man. As soon as y'all step in another room, that noose is gonna be around both y'all neck.
No, you take the flowers and the candles and put it around the sink with the dishwater in it. So in the kitchen, it's like the perfect environment.
Exactly.
Y'all gonna get it now, man. I'm trying to help y'all. Y'all might as well sabotage your time now. Here you go.
Get her that new stove she always wanted.
Hey, look, if I don't see y'all next week, I understand what happened.
You already know.
Yeah, I understand what happened.
But I got a quick one. I got a quick one, and maybe you can answer. You know, we in these current times, we're operating on two ends of the spectrum because on one side, we got a high divorce rate. You know, a lot of Muslims are getting divorced at an alarming rate. But on the other side, we got a lot of Muslims who are not even entering into marriage because of all of these things that, you know, they feel like they need to have in place. And some of them rightfully so. Like, you know, there are certain things that you should absolutely have in place before you get married. But then there's a level of, you know, everything is not going to be the perfect setup. So what advice would you give for people, like when they're trying to get married? Like at what point should they kind of decide that, okay, let me get all of this stuff out the way and let me just give it a try, because that some element of that needs to happen. You know what I'm saying? Like I see a lot of people, you know, like, okay, this thing in order, the finance ain't in order, this got to be, you know, and then now all of this time is passing by and people, the value of a person is declining as you get older and your worth, you know what I mean, for marriage. So what would you say to that, Doc?
Well, first of all, I would say that we got to keep our minds on the law first, because the law gives the barakats. And what I mean by that is that we know that we're supposed to pay everything, okay? But in the law says in the Quran, there's no fault on a woman if she don't want to share her wealth. You know, all that. That's what the law says. And that's what we believe, okay? But my thing is this: we want to continue to earn barakats and do good deeds, and especially for our families. So it's incumbent on that kind of situation for the man and wife to work together, because when it's all said and done, it's about a law. And if it's 50%, half of our deen, you got, that's how you got to be thinking. You'll get the rewards, and you got to. This is where your belief comes in. You're either going to believe or you're not. This is where it comes into play. You work together so you can accomplish to be married, and to work together and do these things together and build what you're going to build together. Why are people? This is a question I like to ask people. Why are you settled on only practicing 50% of your deen? I don't understand that. The law don't say anything else is half your deen. Why are you practicing half of your deen? That's what I'm asking people out here that got something to say, or they saying something. Why are you comfortable with practice half of your deen when you can build together? For the worship of Allah, because you keep law in your mind, you do the right things. You do it together. Allah knows best. But I'm saying, why are you comfortable with practicing half your deen for years and years and years? So some people have done that. People have been young and they still do it. 10 years, 20 years, 30. They still doing it. I even ask some of them sometimes. I've asked them, how come you ain't married? They excuse. How come you ain't married yet? I've been asking you this 15 years ago, 20. How come you ain't married? They ain't got no answer. They ain't no viable answer. I say, well, you comfortable with practicing 50% of your deen, half of your deen? You're comfortable with that. Who tricks you? Who tricks you in making you feel that practicing half of your deen is okay? Who tricks you? I want to meet them. Where they at?
Hey, Dr. Sabir. Dr. Sabir, Imam Faheem, he was on another platform, CJ's Barbershop, and Imam Faheem mentioned, he said, like, he see your brother ain't been married for a long time. He was like, what's wrong with you? Like, you a faggot or something? What's wrong with you? Right. He said, see, Imam Faheem, he said it. I know say it, but I be thinking the exact same thing. Brother, what's wrong with you, man? You ain't married. You don't want to think negative. Okay, nope. Well, this cat running the street, or he's smashing everything, right. Or you just a man, a grown man, Muslim, ain't been married for a decade, 2 decades, and that's not. They ain't normal, man.
I know, and see. These are
you ain't even have number with either. You ain't preserving a million IDs or none of that stuff.
And these are the kind of questions I would ask them in private. See, I don't let them wiggle out from that. I'm asking them in private, away from people. I ask them just like that. I'm asking them, what's the problem? Because if you don't say nothing, what did I say earlier in the conversation? It's a bad habit, and they think it's okay, so they continue the behavior. Because nobody addressed it. You can't make it look like a cake with candles on it and icing, 7-tier cake, 7-layer cake. And you don't say nothing. You just let it go like you don't see the 7 layers. You got to say something. It goes back to what you said a while ago, Imam Naeem. You got to have them hard conversations. You got to have them. And if you don't have them, that means you okaying the behavior. I'm not gonna okay the behavior. I did the same thing you did. I'd have did the same. Look, man, you gotta keep it real. Some people, you can't talk to them sweetly and nicely. Hey, brother, you thinking about getting married? Oh no, I done said that 17 times. Now it's time to go to the next plan. Now I'm gonna ask you like this now, because the first few times I asked you, the light bulb, it was at 30. It went to about 32 and a half. That ain't working. I'm gonna have to go to the next level. Just like y'all, you got to do this, man. Because if you don't do it, I always tell you got to shock people. I call it shock conversation. The nice, flimsy conversation don't work for everybody. You got to shock them. But you're trying to change that light bulb from 30 and try to get it close to 100. So you got to do this. You have to. If they get angry, it ain't really angry at you or me. It's angry at themselves because they was confronted. They haven't been confronted like that. Because see, everybody's not straightforward with each other, with people. They try to go around the mulberry bush, so to speak. You got to aim for the bullseye. And that's always the better way. You got to aim for, especially in private, you got to aim for the bullseye. I'm telling you, man, because if you don't do it, they go on business as usual. You know that.
I want to respond to a couple of brothers in the comments.
Oh, I got one thing quickly, man. Hey, Easter, I'm going to show you another level of this simping. Sometimes getting married heals you, because when I married my wife, it healed me, man. I was broken, and that completed me. That's a level of sipping I just showed you, boy.
Long white bar. Long white bar. A long white bar.
Like a couple of brothers responded. The ones that y'all responded, y'all trying to get married. I'm not talking about y'all. It's one thing you trying to get married, but
Right.
you ain't find your match yet or whatever. But I'm not talking about that. We're talking about brothers just seem to be cool with not being married. I ain't married. I ain't looking. Ain't nobody looking for me. It's been 10, 15, 20 years, and that's just me. No, there's two different things here.
I be telling people, follow the conversation. This is serious. Yeah, we ain't talking about the ones that's looking. That means you're active. You're not satisfied with just practicing half of your deen. I'm talking, like Imam Naim said, we're talking about the ones who ain't looking, or the ones, or I'm going to say this too, because I'm going to blast it too. The ones who are committing zina. How about that? So you don't want to get married, but you want to commit zina. Okay, all right, okay. Now I said it. Okay, there you go. Yeah, all right. That's all I'm gonna say. Okay. All right. You satisfied with that? Okay. Okay. We got, see, when you man up, you got to stand up. So that's all I'm gonna say. That's it. There ain't no shortcuts to manning up. You either man up or you don't. You can't have one foot of one side of the fence of good and the other side of the fence of evil. You know, and you can't be a coward and put your tail between your legs and go hide in the corner. Can't do that.
Mariam says, so when does the marriage clock start, since you guys are referencing how long they were single? Just curious. I don't think everybody has the same clock. It's different for everybody. Everybody's situation is different. But I'm talking about brothers like 15, 10, 20 years. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. Really? I'm like, whoo. Oh, I didn't say the other part too. I know this is gonna be queasy too, but I ain't talking about no hand jobs either. I'm gonna put it out there. I'm not gonna play with this. See, we're gonna keep it live. We're gonna keep it for real. You're right. So, you know, hey, shock is shock, coward is coward, hiding is hiding. How you want to do it? Stand. You want to man up? You want to say, well, man up and handle it. That's all I can tell you. Excuses ain't gonna happen. I mean, excuses not acceptable. Not invalid ones anyway. Not invalid excuses.
Hey, Khadijah said some women need to get together and get some women straight because they like men from the streets, then complain about it later. That's something that a lot of y'all women gotta earn. It's not just the men from the streets. They like a whole lot of other stuff, and then complain about it later.
Yep.
A lot of women confuse masculinity with abuse. He's a man. He put me in my place.
And some women some females do not know what a man is because they haven't been shown either. So that's why they keep picking they pick a lot of wrong people because they don't know what a man really is. They don't. They really don't. They don't. And if they knew better, perhaps they would do better. A lot of them don't know what a man is. Just like some men don't know what a real woman is. Some men don't. They have a good woman right in front of them and they still don't get it. So it goes for both ways, man and the woman.
Yep, I agree.
Anything else for you, Imam Faheem?
Give us some good, we got about 10 minutes left in the show or more. It depends on if Otis comes on. Because if Otis come on, he gonna extend it. He gonna have extended play. Just for mainly, I think our concentration, we want to maintain marriages that are current, they're healthy. We helping people to enter into marriage with the right mindset. I think this is a big issue going, generations coming after us. What practical advice can you give them? How can people shake some of their, inhibitions and all that kind of stuff, that prevents them from getting married?
Well, some of the main things is first is what is your character? You know, what is your character? That goes for the man and woman. What is your character? And do you really believe in the totality of Islam? That's the two things I would ask them. Because either you don't want to practice the full deen, or you just want to practice the parts that you want to practice. And we there's a lot of things, if we try to use our own intellect and also be tricked by the shaitan, we could think that we don't agree with some of the things that Islam say. We can have that psychological barrier about some things, and we think that we can make adjustments the way we want to make the adjustments. But really we can't, and we shouldn't. And anything that it says in the Quran and the Sunnah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we shouldn't have any questions about. And we shouldn't be trying to delay stuff just because we want to do it or we don't want to do it. And we need to, and people need to ask more questions of people who have more knowledge on certain subjects, so they can get a clear understanding of their responsibilities as a Muslim. Because we can't just put our own feelings into things and then get comfortable with them and live them and think it's all right, because it's not. That's foolishness, and that's irrational thinking and understanding. So we have to do better, and that goes back to asking for help. As I said before, seeking help, seeking it, getting some advice, getting some direction, and act upon it. You know, because the longer you delay on what you're supposed to do, who wants to die off of Islam, not following? Who wants to die short of following Islam? So I just put it to him that way, because I just want to make it plain. This is about the Quran and Sunnah. This is not about what we want as individuals just because we want it that way. Like Lioness security blanket, carried it everywhere he went, dirty or not, dragging on the ground, don't want to give it up. You can't be like that. You want things to change, you got to change. Some of us put our hands and stuff and we can't even figure out why nothing moving. It's not moving because you ain't grooving. You ain't moving.
So, some of our people may be too young to know who Linus is.
Yeah, I understand what that. Tell him Charlie Brown. Look at all them cartoons back then. I'll point him in the right direction.
Linus is the dude from the Charlie Brown cartoon that was out when I was young. This dude carried his blanket everywhere.
Dirty, clean, don't matter what.
Yeah,
everywhere.
That was a security.
Remember the episode when he freaked out when the blanket was missing or something?
Oh yeah,
he was going through withdrawal. He was speaking. You remember that, John?
Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah, he was a sick puppy, boy, when he couldn't find that blanket. That's for sure, man. And some people hold on to stuff just like that. They really do, man. They don't want to give it up, man. They just don't. They would be lost. It'd be like a person without a GPS or a compass. They just be standing there going spinning in a circle.
And we carry harmful baggage with us just like that. And that harmful baggage be our security.
Exactly. The wrong one, the wrong kind of security.
Yeah.
For sure. For sure.
And somebody mentioned Lucy. Lucy was sinister, man. Oh, she was devious. Man, so I gotta cover the attack women now. Lucy was devious.
She was. The old sharp tongue she had.
Oh.
Charlie Brown, you're like school on Saturday, no class.
Yeah, I remember the drawing with the football. Who tried to kick the football all the time? It was Charlie Brown, right?
Yeah.
She moved it away. Oh, just scandalous.
Oh man. I know, but anyway, but hey, we got to do better, man. You got to, like I said, if you want help, you got to ask for it. That's the bottom line. And then you got to do the work. So the people who's complaining, make sure your program is on point, because a lot of people that complain, they're falling short. And you can't, just because somebody else is fault. Okay, I'm gonna use this here. You got the man and woman. Just because one of the two parties are falling short that don't mean you lower your character standards for somebody else because they're doing it. You don't say, well, I'm gonna fight fire with fire, or I'm gonna do that, give that person the same thing they giving me. Well, that means you want to stop your growth and you want to regress. That's what you want to do after all the time you put in to get where you at. So you want to regress because you don't want to think anymore. That's interesting. You don't want to think anymore, so you want to regress. Okay.
2 points you just mentioned, and you've been reiterating ever since you've been on. You need help, ask for it.
That's
and
right.
do the work.
Yes.
Bullet point number 1, you need help, ask for it. Number 2, do the work.
That's right.
Some people think the fact that they ask for help is the work. No.
Yeah, right.
You got to follow instructions. When that help come and tell you what to do and show you where you at and where she's at or he's at, now you got to do something.
That's right. That's right. So how you think a change is going to happen if you don't do the work? That's like that. Now that really shows that you need even more counseling. When you think you ask for help, you don't do the work, and you expect changes. That's really, you're really into it for real. Then you're into a few sessions for real.
That's like going to the doctor. They give you the prescription, and then you cool with that. I ain't going to fill a prescription. I'm gonna just hold on to the paper.
What did you say? What did you say in the last football a couple weeks ago? Take the pill, Bismillah. I remember. Don't want to, I'm just saying, come on, man. This a lot of stuff is not hard. It's just people's characters are broken and they're not willing to fix it because they're too comfortable with the lioness blanket. That's the problem. That's the problem. They ain't willing to change. They don't want to change. They don't. They go down with the ship. The ship is sinking. I'm not using the life raft. I'm just going under with the ship. I'm going under.
The lioness blanket syndrome. It sounds like we could do something with that.
Well, we can, brother. Absolutely.
Okay. Alhamdulillah. I got to cut out because I got another engagement at 9 o'clock. But Dr. Sabir, it was a pleasure and honor having you on. Alhamdulillah. We got a lot of jewels tonight. The crowd was a little more tame. I'm surprised because usually they be chopping. They be chopping us up. We on here. So we need guests more often, man, because they be ready. MashaAllah.
Maybe perhaps it was something that was deeply they were interested in, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
Indeed.
That's a good thing. Because we want all of us to be successful and not with broken hearts and hurt feelings. We want to have more happiness. And that's what I want for everybody, including myself.
MashaAllah.
Yes. And I'm glad you was here also. I know you got to break camp. It's like almost 8:59 now, brother. You got the helicopter waiting on the roof or out front?
Nah, I'm gonna ride by bike doing this one. That's for the big things. That's for the big things.
What I'm talking about. As long as you got some lights and reflectors on there, that's a good thing.
Alhamdulillah. Okay, so I'm gonna cut out. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Are you closing out, Imam Naim, or are you taking a few more questions? Or
yeah, I got at least one more question I need to take, inshallah. Then we can cut out, inshallah.
Okay,
we gotta make Maghrib here too.
Yeah, drop that bread too before y'all go. We gave y'all a full show. You got in the show. Nobody sweated you at the door, but you're not leaving out of here until you pay.
Alhamdulillah.
All right. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May Allah always bless you, man, Faheem. Alhamdulillah.
Right, absolutely.
Alhamdulillah.
Be safe. Have a safe.
All right, inshallah.
Last count, the last count that we collected $180 at last count so far. We try to do at least 500 every week. We've been falling short last few weeks. Alhamdulillah. May Allah reward you for whatever you give. But remember our mantra, if everybody do a little bit, nobody has to do a lot.
Right.
If we all just put our little bit of it in, nobody has to do a lot.
Right. Absolutely.
Dorauf Campos Marchetti. Hopefully I pronounced your name right. Imam Amin, what's up?
Look. Hold up.
Imam Amin, what's up? Assalamu alaikum.
Let's go.
Look.
Assalamu alaikum.
Where we at?
Look.
Mayor Marty Smalls, how you doing? Is it looking good?
Hold up. Right now.
Does this include the vote by mail or not?
No.
Okay.
The votes from the polls
1,501 for Mayor Small.
Yeah.
411 for Foley.
Blowout. Blowout.
That's
wow.
1,090 votes difference.
Yeah. Blowout. Blowout. Yeah. Yeah.
There is no.
There it is. There it is.
We don't need that anymore.
That's it. You did it. You did it.
Ain't counting. We ain't done yet.
All right.
Allah Akbar.
Alhamdulillah. Thank y'all for your du'as. Thank y'all for your supplications. We'll be back in.
All right.
Allahu Akbar. Alhamdulillah. Allahu Akbar. You know, when Imam Amin was here in Pittsburgh, he told me some of the things that, you know, alhamdulillah, some of the ways in which the city of Atlantic City has been good to the Muslims. I ain't gonna mention it here, but I'm just say, alhamdulillah, that he got reelected. Alhamdulillah. To answer your question, Abdul Rauf, he says, I am the Imam at the Lighthouse. I'm the Imam at the Lighthouse, and would like to invite you to our Masjid in Albuquerque. What do we need to do to make this happen? Reach out to either myself, Imam Faheem, or Imam Amin, right? And you choose 3 Saturdays for us, and we'll see which ones we are most available for, and we'll get back to you. In other words, choose 3 Saturdays or 3 weekends that will be possible for us to come. And then when you give us that information, then we'll see which one is best for based upon our availability, and we just make it happen, inshallah. Just reach out to us, either myself, Imam Faheem, or Imam Amin. And we take it from there, inshallah. We'll start communicating with you, inshallah. All you gotta do is reach out, inshallah. So I hope I answered your question. Alhamdulillah. I'm trying to see if there were any more questions that I missed. No, I think that's it. Alhamdulillah. Oh, Issa said, no, I missed something else. I think Issa said he got some ginger drinks for you, Dr. Sabir. I just can't find the comment.
Oh, okay.
Alhamdulillah. I think he likes what you were saying.
Shukran out there, brother. I appreciate it. I will drink them with a smile.
They slamming too. Like you just gotta watch out for that. This is one sister you gotta watch out for, man. She be stealing your stuff. Well, actually 2 sisters. One sister, she'll try to just run up on you and take your stuff, like Isla. Then you got another one that just, like, I'm from New York, we say just like Bogart, or in Philly they say Brody, right? Just take your stuff in front of you. Just like, well, yeah, I took it, what? Right? It's Samira. Just gonna take my stuff, right? Like, yo, that's mine. I know. Alhamdulillah. Okay, Levon, you say you setting up some time for August, inshallah. Try to get back soon as possible. You know, same thing I told Brother Imam Abdul Rauf. Same thing. Try to get us, in as much in advance as possible so we can lock in a date for sure, inshallah. Alhamdulillah. So with that, we're going to close out because I got to make Maghrib. Inshallah, it's Maghrib time in Pittsburgh.
You mean we have to?
No doubt. We have to make Maghrib. Alhamdulillah. Samir, what's yours? Samir said, what's yours is mine, and what's mine is mine. See, that's that, that old Wahhabi version of Islam. See, you got to purify yourself from Wahhabism, right? Alhamdulillah. We pray that, everything that we presented here was beneficial for all of to all of you. I know it was beneficial for me. Alhamdulillah. And before I close out, I want to ask Dr. Sabir if he has any final words, and make your last statements, and then we'll close out, inshallah.
Okay. The thing I would like to say is, inshallah, my intentions is always to be available to help our families. And I'll leave it to that because you're the ones that have to say, I need help. All right. I love you all. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May Allah bless all of you. May Allah protect all of our communities, all of our families, our marriages, our children. Alhamdulillah. Imam Amin, we was about to close out.
Hey, give us some time. I want to bring this in. It's celebration time. Medina to Atlantic City, Medina to Islamia. Hold on.
Allah Akbar.
Go ahead. Go. I think they can see you. Go ahead. Go ahead. Let's go. Hey, man, we put a lot of work in here. Let's go.
All right. My voice is strained. Please, my voice is strained. So I need y'all to be quiet. It's a great day. All right. I want you all to join us immediately after this. We're going to Bungalow Beach in the beer garden on a campaign. All right, listen up. First of all, can I please address the supporters? Please.
This is history here. Please be patient with us.
Yeah, we got you. We got you.
First of all, this was the ugliest campaign that I've ever been a part of. And as I stated, we had some doozies in the great city of Atlantic City. So to get through this, I want to thank my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Before I do anything, can LaQuetta, Jada, and Marty Jr. please come up? Look. Before we say anything,
Nah,
this
I'm on another thing.
victory was for this family. Listen, we all know what it was.
I'm here.
We won
I'm
this
still here.
election, and we're going to beat
I'm
it
still
in the
here.
court. But I wanted everyone to give us a round of applause because we've been through a lot. I would like, come on y'all, I can't yell. I would like to thank each and every one of you who played a role in this massive victory. So we thank you for your support. All of your hard work and your dedication is appreciated. All the support. I'd like to thank all the people who donated to our campaign, from as little as the little dollar donations on the internet to the big dollar donations from the unions and everyone else. We appreciate you and we thank you. Next, I would like to thank, and I know I drove her crazy. I drove everybody crazy, but I'll tell you that strategy in a minute. Our campaign manager, Constantine. We also would like to thank our street team, the people that were out there getting ballots in the streets, hustling to only let us lose by a little bit. But only thing we had to do was compete. That's what they do. And I'd like to thank each and every one of you. I don't want to name individuals because somebody's feelings going to be hurt because they don't think I value them. So I would like to thank each and every one of you. You know who you are. Robin Robin Wallace from the Brendan Gill Group, our campaign consultant. And I give her thanks through Brendan Gill, who's our campaign consultant. Listen, this was an incredible journey. To be honest, I never thought that we would lose, but I wanted to wake us up because I think a lot of us really took this campaign for granted. So if as the leader, I feel vulnerable, I wanted to make sure it's not just about me. I wanted to make sure that we got each and every one of them across the finish line as well. So all of y'all who's like, oh, he's bugging, he's doing this. No, I wasn't. It's a method to my madness. But more importantly, I would like to thank the voters of the great city of Atlantic City who have shown us confidence. I see members of my administration here. I see Chief of Staff Corsi, Judge Percy, Mike Perugini. Thank you for your support. Democratic Chairman Mike Suleiman. Who believe in this team and made the decision that angered some people, but again, once again, he's vindicated. Right, Mike? Yes, absolutely. But seriously, listen, we're just getting started. We're not up here spiking the football because we've been here before. So to each and every one of you, don't let your guard down. I know y'all tired of us running and running and running. I'm tired too. But we have to get over the hurdle the first Tuesday in November. And we are in prime position to do so. So I want to thank everyone again, all the people out there who knew that Atlantic City's problems are big and the solution is small. All the people who knew a small plan would make a big difference. And all the people out there that knew ultimately that our administration is what all our hopes and dreams are made of. And all of you who dreamed big and voted small, we thank you. Now, guys, come at the king what? You better not fucking live! One more time, come at the king what? You better not fucking live! All right, we want to be politically correct, and I would like to introduce to you
yeah.
ballot position.
Yeah, we still here.
I'm going to come out. Let me get out.
This is my wife right here.
How are you feeling, sis? You got a beautiful husband.
All right, bro.
I'm sorry to interrupt the program. It's just, as we mentioned this morning in the class, that this is a lot of work and it's going to be a great opportunity for the Muslim community in Atlantic City. Imam Naim, is my voice clear?
It's big.
Yeah, we hear you. It's clear.
It's clear?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. I'm going to go back in a minute, but I just wanted to, this was a hard campaign. Unfortunately, we came up against many of the people who were against Ahl Sunnah, and it was a political move to wipe even Ahl Sunnah's influence in Atlantic City. And alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with your du'as and some of your support, combined with the support of the community, it is a new day here in Atlantic City. And inshallah ta'ala, we have 4 years ahead of us to build and to build. And I just thank you all for that opportunity. And may Allah reward you all, inshallah. I'm going to go back in. Barakallahu bikum. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Y'all can continue, inshallah.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah, we're going to close out. We were closing out anyway. Alhamdulillah, let's close out with Al-Fatiha. Alhamdulillah. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت ونستغفرك ونتوب إليك والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. Thank you, Dr. Sabir, for coming on. Inshallah, we bring you back, inshallah. Thank you all for listening and joining us and participating in the conversation. All of you, even the quiet listeners, but those of you who participate, you make it that much better. And we learn a lot from you, just like you learn from us. Alhamdulillah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa